Alright, so this has been my latest project. I've been working on gathering and getting some Florida chert together, and I'm excited to play with it. I'm hoping to put a whole video together on it, so let's get started on this piece right here. The quality on this one is fantastic. I don't know if y'all can see that shine to it. This has been heat treated to about 450. The workability is, look at the difference, absolutely fantastic. So let's see what we can do. First goal is to get this hump off, so if you're looking at how to get a turtleback off, this will be a good one for you. I'm gonna try not to lose too much width. First thing I'm gonna do is kind of set up a platform right there to try to drive into. This is gonna be a little bit weird for us, but we'll work around it. It may not want to run through there, but we'll try. If it steps right there, it's not the end of the world. So I think just because of how, I mean, look at that. That is awesome. I think about just because the quality of it, it ought to be able to run across there. Well, it ran across there a little too good, didn't it? Well, let's keep working with this piece. I definitely had some issues with this breaking up, even trying to spall it, like old fractures and stuff, so I'm not super surprised that broke in half. I would have preferred that it didn't, but I'm also not mad. You can't get mad about that kind of stuff. It happens. I'll be just pleased to get a point out of it. I've worked through quite a bit of this that I brought home, and most of it wasn't even close to the quality that this is, I should say. So bad that I haven't been able to get anything worth showing y'all on video, so thus the extended absence for a while here. I hate to do it, but if I'm working on a project, you know, I'm trying to, this has kind of been a long little project here. I filmed the whole process of going to get it, which I'll roll some footage of probably right now. get what I can off of them before they go in the heat treat. And that'll be a good start. All these little flakes like this, we'll keep them, see what we can do with them. And that's a good start to spalling. Now I know this is blocky and disintegrated on us, but it's kind of standard when you're working with stuff that's been tossed around in the river and all beat up. So that's kind of how you go about it. You get a nice little pile of rock like that right there. So we've got, you know, that'll make a nice little biface. That'll probably make a small atlatl size point. See what that'll do. Kind of blocky, square edges. If we can get the chert, or if we can get the silica pocket out of that and leave that little blue bullseye in it, that'll make a beautiful knife blade. This one, again, got to get that chalk pocket out of it. That's pretty standard for Florida material. Same here, big chalk pocket through it, but we'll see what we can do with it. It's really pretty stuff. Some of these smaller flakes like this that came out the outside edge are really going to be your best stuff. This really crumbly stuff, there's no telling what we can do with it. So I haven't attempted this one yet. Maybe we should give it a whack. It looks like pretty good stuff. Let's do that real quick. I'll do that over here. I'll move the camera again. Don't want to mix it up with our good stuff. Put all that back where I got it from. Let's try this one. I think it's going to be crumbly too. I have a sneaking suspicion. It came from the same area as that other stuff. I think I'll put that whole piece in the heat treat. At least what's left of it now. There's no telling how much more of this will come apart. Everywhere you see one of those brown lines like that is an old incipient crack. But now this seems to be down to a fairly whole piece. We'll just cook it like it is. See what else is going on with this piece. Put that one in there too. Like I said, see those brown lines? That's everywhere that there's a pre-existing crack. There's not much you can do about that. Anytime you go out looking for flint, you're probably going to bring home some junk. Try to limit it, but on this trip, we actually weren't flint hunting. We were kayaking and just happened to come across some, so we took what we could get. We weren't super selective, so a lot of this is questionable at best. This piece will probably work out too. You can tell by the sound of it too just how solid it is. If you hit something and it's got a good ring, that one doesn't have it either. If you hit something and it's got a good ring, that's a good sign. Let me grab another one here. So I grabbed a couple more here. So this one sounds pretty solid. This one sounds pretty solid. You can tell just by looking at the outside of them, they came from two different spots. So this one is more this blue stuff. So let's see what it looks like. And again, it's a pretty crumbly little mess. Sounded okay, but as you can see, you've got two halves there. I'll heat treat them. I don't think these are going to do anything, but we've got room, so why not? Now this one has a much different sound to it. I don't know how well it's going to come up on camera. You'll be able to hear it in some of the other clips, and this one isn't crazy high grade or anything. Like some of the, like that other one we worked through was pretty good grade. But you can hear it's got a different sound and it's acting differently. The flakes run across it. It may not be super high grade flint, but it's a lot more manageable, a lot more predictable. If it's not predictable, it's hard to knap. This, at least when you strike it and expect the flake to come off, the flake acts in a manner that's kind of reminiscent of how it should. So who knows how this one will turn out, but it didn't cost me anything to bring it home. Well, maybe cost my back a little bit to bring it home. So we've kind of napped it into a rough biface or spall. We'll throw it in there. I'll get all this stuff in the heat treat and we'll cook it up. It'll probably be ready in a couple days. Okay, and we're back. So that will be our some footage of our trip to collect this, and we'll see how good I am at. Look at that orange, man, that's incredible. Super thrilled. I'm planning on going back. Took a friend with me, a couple friends with me actually, and one of them doesn't nap, but the other one is a really good napper, and he's already wanting to go back and get some more of this particular stuff. I got some other stuff, but it isn't the sorry, I'm having trouble hitting that platform right there. We may switch over to the indirect just to try to. I've been doing a little bit more direct percussion work lately, but I really want this to be preferably in one piece. It's funny, I don't know how much you know about Florida, but the Florida Gators colors are orange and blue, and that's funny that this is orange and blue. I'm not a football fan by any means, but that struck me as funny because this comes from the same area. This comes from North Florida. This is not coral. This is chert. Whacked my camera there. Sorry guys. Again, I'm messing with a new filming setup. It's a little difficult to use, but I'm trying to give y'all a better view of what I'm doing. Feels like in a lot of videos y'all are a million miles away from what I'm actually trying to show you, and I don't like it. I want y'all to be able to see exactly what I'm doing. Look at that orange. That dished out really bad for some reason. Can't quite figure out why, but we'll work around it. I think it actually works so well I'm not used to it. This is gonna have to come up to be able to take that hump off of there. I was hoping to get it from the other side, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. That is awesome. There, I got it off. need to take some flakes off of this side. This side's pretty flat, but I need to get a few problem areas off of it. Like this weird dipped in spot right there I don't like. This is going to be a little bit of a struggle, I think. The chert is good. It's just kind of how I started out. Kind of messed up right there out of the get-go, breaking it in half. Less than optimal. Less than optimal right there. It happens. Can't get mad, like I said. The nappability of this and the color, holy cow. I wish I had a semi-truckload full of it, I can tell you that much. I'd be a rich man, I think. But I don't. I've got a couple kayaks full. And it's not something I'm going to like sell or anything. It's for me and some friends. Unfortunately, there's not a you'll work real hard to get one rock like this, so it's not something you give away lightly. I wish it was, but it ain't. And no, I will not tell where it came from. There might be hints, but I'm gonna keep it pretty top secret. And I'm sorry, but flint knapping spots or chert gathering spots are not something you want to let everybody know about. Again, I wish it wasn't that way, but it kind of has to be, so I can enjoy it. But you'd be surprised at what, like, I don't know where any of you live at, but you'd be surprised at what you can find in your local area if you'll just go put boots on the ground and look for it. But you gotta look for it. I've spent a lot of time, money, and energy looking for, you know, things like this near me, and with limited success. A few pieces here and there, a lot of junk. I have a huge junk pile of rock. Makes good flower beds though. I'll tilt this up just a little bit if it'll stay. I'm just trying to I don't want to put a lot of force on this because it's decently thin, so I want to try to set up some better platforms, and I want to zigzag this back edge across here. I'd like to try to make something fairly presentable out of this without destroying it. I don't want to push it too thin, but at the same time I don't want to I want to do the rock justice. This tip is real wonky down here and I don't love it, so I'm going to try to get a lot of that off. It's got a lot of meat left in it, and I don't like a I've got a pretty thin midsection and a pretty thick base and a pretty thick tip, and that is always a bad not a great scenario. You want to try to keep, if anything, a thick middle and a thin tip and thin base, so when you hit the point it doesn't shock it, if that makes any sense to anyone. Just kind of looking around here, seeing what I need to do. I don't have to hit this very hard, I'll tell you that much. Which is usually a sign of pretty good rock. I super happy that I had a successful heat treat on this. I've had some less than stellar heat treating jobs in the past due to my own stupidity, not listening to myself about what I need to know needs to be done, which we're all guilty of sometimes. I've definitely in the past thrown some rock in there and just turned it straight to 400, which is not the way to do that. Lack of patience. It gets me into trouble a lot. Try to pressure flake that off. I don't want to hit that. It's too close to the end, and it's just, like I said, it's real wonky. Now I'll probably come back and maybe not. I may not have to. Yeah, I probably won't have to do nothing with that. Now I've got to get this dip out of the edge here. So I'm going to bring this edge up. Try to compensate for some of that. It's a little better. And then this edge, I want to do the same thing. I want to bring it up, and then I want to start playing with getting my final symmetry right. I'd like to keep as much of this width and length as possible, but my symmetry is real off, so we'll see what we can do about that. So we can either make it narrow and bring the tip in. Probably lose some off the back and some off the side. I hate it, but it's kind of the way it's got to be. Sometimes you have to make sacrifices in the name of symmetry. I can tell you a native wouldn't do that. They'd just rocked on. They wouldn't have cared. I don't know, unless it affects flight very much out of an arrow or an atlatl, but it really, in my opinion, I don't think it does. It'll kill something just as dead if it's crooked or straight. So kind of right in there and right across the back to get what we're looking for. And like I said, guys, I'm not going to push this to the absolute furthest abilities of my thinning, because I just really want to have a point made from it. And this is one of the first good pieces of it I've worked. I'll have to stop myself though, because I will push it beyond where I should. I'm extremely bad about that. It's taking some wonderful pressure flakes off though, for me. Y'all have to tell me if y'all like this angle better. I like this angle better. I feel like I'm able to get right up in there and kind of show y'all what I'm working with a little closer up. Give y'all a little better view, you know? Couple more in here and we'll be looking pretty good. Not terrible on overall thinness. Maybe not exactly where I'd like to be, but I think it'll be okay. I'm going to try to get my little pressure faker out and get some of this end cleaned up and refine it down just a little bit more. Unfortunately, I'm not 100% certain what I did with it. It's been a little bit since I needed it. I've been doing all the refining on this stuff. I see it down there now. Okay, let's get this tip cleaned up. Dude, that leaves some awesome looking flake scars. Just wonderful looking flake scars. You know what it kind of looks like? Well, what it really looks like is Pasco County agatized coral, which it's not. This comes from a long way from Pasco County. A long way. You know what a fitting point style for this would be? Well, I'm not going to say, you know why? Because that might give away where it came from. Yup. it might very well give away where it came from. So I'm not gonna say, and I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna do a bowling. I just did a bowling though. I feel like the last video I made, no, I did that Buck Creek Cornstone video. That point turned out good. Super thin. This one won't be that thin, I can tell you that much. You know what though, I've made thin stuff on camera before, so y'all know I can do it. I'm just saying I'm choosing not to. And also I'm not super familiar with this rock yet and don't know the limitations of like where I can push it. Like certain rock, you can pick it up and you're like, yep, that'll let me take it down really thin. And then other rock, you pick it up and you're like, yep, I better not. At least for me. The more glassy stuff, the Texas chert, the real hard stuff, and especially non-heat treated, it seems like you can push it further. Like obsidian, I can't get obsidian very thin. It may be my lackluster knapping style. This runs a flake so well, that kind of is what caught me off guard there in the beginning when I split that in half like that. I was kind of unprepared. I didn't expect it to just take off and run like that. I thought I'd have to work for it. But no, I basically drove a flake all the way through it, which is okay. I might be able to get another point out of that other piece too. We'll see about that. Maybe. I've got a roaster full of it. Not all of it is like this. I kind of grabbed, not gonna lie, kind of grabbed the cream of the crop here. I wanted to though. When I picked this rock up, it was the one I was the most excited about. I broke it in half and I gave my buddy the other half, and I took this half, and he texted me earlier and said he was waiting on his kiln to cool down so he could take it out and mess with it. I did this for $4.50. I'll tell y'all kind of what a standard cycle for me on the heat treat's been looking like, and it seems to be working. I've been doing, as long as I can stand it at less than 210 degrees, so like probably 180, 200, but less than boiling, so the water doesn't explode out of them. For, like I said, about as long as I can stand it, which is usually overnight. So I put them on, you know, when I get home from work, or preferably earlier if it's a weekend. And then usually, you know, 12 to 24 hours later at least, I'll go back out there and turn it up to 250. Let that go for probably, I don't know, 5-6 hours. And then once that goes on for 5 or 6 hours, I'll go out there and I'll turn it up about 350. And then you can turn it up every hour from there, but I usually forget about it and leave it on 350 for another couple hours. And then with this batch, I put it on 400, and then I went to bed, and I woke up for work at 4 a.m. and I came out here and I turned it up to 450, and then had someone turn it off around probably 8 o'clock, and that seemed to do pretty darn well. So it had like a really long soak at 400, which, if you're putting bigger pieces in there, I think is important. I had almost no explosions, and this came out of water, so yeah. This was literally in the bottom of a river a couple days ago. Alright guys, I'm probably gonna finish flaking this up and leave it at this thickness and this width and this level of pressure flaking. It is a little thick. It's not my most, you know, perfect point by any means, but I like it. I really like the colors in it, and I want it to stay in one piece. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that. We'll push some more of it. I'll see how thin I can push a piece of it one day this week. We're gonna do, now that I've got it kind of to where I can nap it, we'll do some more videos working with it. The last 2 weekends I've been working on kind of getting this together, and unfortunately it's not going to create too terribly much footage for y'all, but it's not about that to me. Do I drop a point every video? I think I drop a point every video. I'm pretty sure I do. It's not just about making videos for you guys, it's about, there's something really rewarding about finding your own rock. I totally recommend everybody to do it. Like, I could buy the nicest rock in the world and pay a ton of money for it, and it wouldn't mean half as much as this little chunk of rock right here means to me. So it's definitely something to be said for that. So there is a particular style of point I want to make. It has to be a Florida point style. So there's a couple I kind of have in mind that would work good with this triangular form here. Could be a bowline. It's not really wide enough for a lot of the clays or even citrus and Hernando. Could try to do a Hernando on it, but like I said, it's not. I haven't done a Hernando on video yet, and it's one of my favorite styles. So let's rock on with a Hernando, or whatever it ends up. One of those points that is basal notched like this. Now, whether it ends up being a Hernando or citrus or whatever, we're yet to see. We'll see when we get there. I know to some people it's probably annoying how I just not super worried about point types or what it ends up being. To me, it's cool to be able to make a certain point type, but I could kind of care less. I like to make stuff just to make stuff. So if I'm whatever I'm in the mood for, whatever the point looks like it wants to be, and if I can't get these notches to go any deeper than that, I'm gonna leave them just like that. Because again, I ain't breaking it. A Hernando is typically wider than this, so just have to get over it. But one thing that does make difficult is getting these side notches in here without losing the middle. I got to reposition here, and I'm probably going to end up doing some of this possibly off camera, unfortunately, just because of the way I want to hold it. I picked the worst preform to knap into a Hernando probably ever, because it's thick as can be, and when you're doing these thin little basal notches like that, that makes life less fun when they're thick, because you gotta get in there without getting into anything else. I'm cool with that. I'm leaving it like that. I don't care that they don't go very deep. It's not the necessarily the end of the world to me, I guess. I would like them to, but I'm cool with how that looks. So there you go. A little Hernando made from some sweet Florida chert. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. It's been a journey to get to this guy right here, and you can see all the blue on the ground. That's from my Spalling and getting stuff together, and I've got more pieces of it. I've got a bunch more of it, and plan on getting more soon. So thank y'all for watching. I think this is super cool. Like, hopefully this video will show you the journey from rock to point, like rock to point, like all the way. So there you go. Thank y'all.